Alright, so today, a couple of things. There's a door going there eventually. I haven't 100% decided if it's going on this side or that side, dead center, or whatnot. So I'm probably going to pull out one stud right there and cut out a piece here, because now I'm going to be working on this front and I'm going to be going back and forth in and out, and plus I have all that debris from the other day in there. I got to get out to the dumpster, so I got to have a hole here eventually. I'm going to make a hole, probably just screw a piece of plywood on it that'll just put on and off. But this is the main goal, is I got to get this sill and most likely rim joist replaced over here. Yeah, this corner here is compromised a little bit. So yeah, so rim joist and sill here, and that involves jacking this whole wall. Slightly different from everything else I was doing, because if you remember when we did the front wall, all the roof rafters ran out this way, so I was able to, well, we put up a whole header across the whole inside of the house, jacked it all the way from the basement floor and up, and lifted it. This is the, what do they call it, gable end, I think. And this, the ceiling joists and roof rafters run a long way. They don't run off of this wall. So you basically got to screw, you got to attach something to this wall to lift it. And if I do it from the inside, same with the rest of the house, is the subflooring goes between this wall and the rim joist. And I want to put down all new subflooring. If I can start with a full sheet, that would be nice, or a longer sheet, that would be great. So I really don't want to jack it from right on the inside. So I'm going to survey and see, is there a way I can jack it from the outside? That way there, the inside's totally clear. That'll make it a little bit of a pain in the butt getting these boards in from the outside, because the sill plate's 6 inches. So I'd have to have room to be able to tip that in and get that on top of the foundation. So I got to do some soul searching and some contemplating and seeing what I have for materials to be able to do that. So I'm going to start by opening up that doorway and figure out what I'm going to do. And this, and just as a reference where we left, my buddy Chris was here the other day, and this was the room where we ripped up all the flooring and took down those walls that were resting on it. So all these floor joists are getting replaced. All the new ones are stacked around the corner over there. And then that's obviously all the way down to the basement. So yeah, there's a flat 2x6 that'll be pressure treated on the bottom there. You can see the whole side of it's missing. And then the rim joist here will get replaced, and that's going to either get doubled up or blocked like I did on the other wall. So let's get going, see what we can get done today. Alright, so slight detour. I'm going to get the dumpster crushed in, because I do have a ton of material in there, so I want to get this crushed in. Do I have to have it picked up now, or do I have enough room for it for when I get to that pile? That's what I'm doing right now. Well, that's satisfying. That's definitely a lot more room down in there. And one of the times when I was crushing in, something came flying up, probably went up about 5 feet higher than the dumpster. And when it hit down, it didn't even break. Old Crown Royal bottle. See how far I was crushing in here? That thing probably went up about 5 feet. Smacked down over there, didn't even break. That's a strong bottle. Alright, now off to the next part. Oh, I have a front door hole. And right inside the hole is right where I stacked all the lumber. So that's all those stacks, 2x10s and all that stuff right there. And then that's where there's no floor. So I can step over here, no problem, and So I'll probably just throw down a couple pieces of plywood for right now, just so I can come and go and use the chop saw and stuff like that while I'm working on this front wall out here. But we have a front door hole. Not a front door, just a hole. Alright, so came up with a little bit of plan. Did a ton of measurements, and we have subflooring coming out all the way over here. Because where we had this brace to the basement floor before, our first piece of subfloor that's under the wall that comes out to the tongue and groove section, which I want to line up with this so all these floorboards can just continue tying in all the way across the whole room, and then eventually all the way through the whole house, and use the tongue and groove all the way across. So measuring back off of here in 4-foot sheets, 4-foot sheet, it leaves me with only 6.5 inches past 2 4-foot sheets to here, actually 6 5/8. So I'll end up doing one that'll come into about here, and that should be enough to tie it into the floor joists and everything else. So that's good. And what that will allow me to do is, instead of trying to jack it outside on the loose gravel and stuff like that, these are the jacks that you typically use to lift a house. They're screw style. These things have an unbelievable amount of force. Now if you look, that's where the sill plate comes into, and there's really not enough room. Like, that's just barely over half of it right there. So I'd have to come in even further and then jack it all the way from the basement. So that's a ton of lumber all the way up, and then run it up and down the stairs. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this in upside down, kind of like so. Let's see if we can get it to balance here. Yeah, so that'll be upside down, and then I'll have to use a small bar and really force it, which should be fine. But then to tie it into the wall, I think I take like a 2x12, this is just for reference, to there, and then I'll cut one on an angle to sit right on top of it, and then bring it up and tie it into the wall further. Because if you just tie something like this in, it's just going to want to shear the nails, screws, whatever you want to use with the amount of pressure it's going to use. So this one here, I may put it all the way right up to the top there, so it's bracing right at a stopping point, and it's not relying on screws or nails. And then again, I'll bring it down and rest it right on here. So now it'll have a load here and a load here essentially. So this won't be trying to rack this. This will be pushing straight, and that should keep it from wanting to push the wall out also. Because if you just jack it from the bottom, it may want to kind of roll the bottom of the wall out. So that's in my crazy head theory. Let's see if it works. I think it should. Worst case scenario, it's going to be really hard to turn that screw. And if that's the case, I know I can get in there and use that stubby piece with like a pipe wrench and give it a quarter of a turn and another quarter of a turn. I'll make it work. Or I'm going to try and make it work. So, because if I can do that, then that'll leave the room for this subfloor piece here, and it'll clear the sill plate. So I'll be able to work around everything. So yeah, so that'll clear the sill plate, so I can take that one out, get the new one in. It'll clear all the floor joists, so I can work around it, get the floor joists in, and there'll be enough room back there for the subfloor to slide in behind it. So wish me luck it works. And like I said, in my crazy head it should work, but let's see what happens. Okay, so that's a quickie with that. That board's up there, propped up in there, screwed on multiple times as it tapers out, comes down, and it's screwed. I got one set in there, and then I got a couple in this, tying these two together, And then I got a bunch down here. These ones are preloaded going this way. These ones are just straight in. So as it's trying to pull, these ones are already loaded. They're not going to try and shift. And then got the jack there, down on the side of the foundation. And I'll shut off the time lapse and I'll put that on a live video and just see if it does what I expect it to do while I'm trying to crank that thing in by hand. See if I get the power with this. Where is it? That's how long that is. Pretty much as wide as my hand. That's not a lot of leverage. That's an air chisel bit for rivets, in case you were curious. Alright, so let's see if this is going to work. Let's get these spider webs out of here so you can see what's going on a little bit. Oh, those are thick spider webs. It's probably quite the nasty spider that did them. Okay, so if you can see, right here, I had wedged shims in here, and those things are in there. Those things are locked in. I had already wedged those trying to see if I could just get this up to just change the sill plate. But then I saw the rim joist had a little rod over there, I believe. So we're going to have to go a different method. And I want to get this subfloor out and these out anyway. So this is what's going to happen. And let's give it a try with this stubby little guy. I don't think it's going to be strong enough. And which way do I have to go? I'm working it upside down. Yep, I figured that was going to be not good. So let's see what else we got here. Alright, so a couple other things. Pipe wrench if I have to. I got a little bit longer thing here, which it's almost twice as long, but it's thinner. I got the long bar, which I can give it a little bit, but you got to go a full quarter turn. I can't do that under there. So let's see if we go with this guy. Probably should move this piece of plywood I'm resting on a little bit. Something's moving. Hear that crackling? Out there. Let's see if the pipe wrench will grab that thing. I'm not grabbing on the threads, I'm grabbing on the piece that has the holes in it. So don't yell at me for messing up my 150-year-old jack yet. Definitely better. It'd be a lot better if I moved. Oh, thing. I can reach under here. That's giving me a little extra. I'm blocking the camera for you guys. Sorry about that. Doing what I gotta do here. Let me see if I can pull this piece of plywood back. I've been stepping on it and there's all nails under it, so it's probably not going to want to move. It's probably spiked into all the nails. I may even tip the camera over that you guys are on. Do this. There we go. A little bit. Okay, that might be enough. Let's see if you guys shift out of the way. Oh, he's still pretty good. harder. That's a little more working like a gentleman. I'm not saying I'm a gentleman, that's a far cry. Maybe you can call it a gentleman. Definitely hearing some creaking. Oh yeah, we're lifting some of it. This board here's moving, this board there's moving. These are hammered in pretty, oh, yeah, those are starting to move some. Whew. That one's loose. I'm going to grab a 2x4. I think I have an idea for my new electric leverage here. This on here, get this between here, push over from up here. Oh, that's way better. Now there's a chance I could break off the corner of the foundation here. Pushing this way, I'm pushing it. Who's this? Ah, it's Kobe. Stop you guys for a minute. Alright, we're back at it here. That's Kobe just checking in. For those of you that don't know, Kobe's my brother. One of my brothers. Definitely creaking. There's definitely stuff moving. Not quite sure what that was. That was a noise outside. Should I be concerned? I don't know if you heard that, but that sounded like sheet metal falling. Okay. I don't know if you can see it or not in the camera. I'm starting to see light all under here. Ah, there we go. That guy's out. He's not holding anything anymore. Ah, this guy's out. This one's out. That one's still got a little tension on it. But I did drive those in pretty dang hard. But let's see if we can get you down there. If you're taking the time to watch the live video part, I appreciate it. Well, not live, but actual. But yeah, see all the light coming in between the foundation? Because this is the sill plate we're going to replace. And now there's all light under it. So that's lifted off the foundation now. Actually, you can hear how bad that thing is. Yeah, you can see light through it there. You can see light over the top of it all over there. That gap opened up more. All right. that's that. And I can definitely see light all over here, which I don't think I could see before, but I haven't jacked it over here yet. So I'm gonna set up a way to jack it over here and get some more tension. Ease the tension, baby. Let's see what we can do. Now, as long as it holds and stays there, I'm gonna call that sweet victory. Check this out. So there's my second one, braced all the way up top, the jack. You can see some light down the bottom. But look at how much space we got between the floor joists, the subfloor and the wall. The whole wall's levitating nicely. All the way down the other end. Call that I will call a victory. So it's well past lunchtime because I got a late start. So before I break this out and have to continue going, because I don't want to break this out and leave the wall, because in case something does collapse, I want it to just fall back where it goes. So I'm going to take a minute, go make a sandwich, and then I'm going to get out here and start blasting that outer rim joist off and see what happens. And I have to keep reminding myself that these floor joists that I'm currently kneeling on are resting on that sill plate. So I'm probably going to come in from the inside and beat the ends of that thing out a little bit, maybe run the Sawzall across a couple of things. And then I just saw the huge spider that's been making those webs. It's pretty big. Knew he was going to be a big guy. But anyway, I'll probably just kind of knock it all loose so I don't have to do so much prying from outside, and then go outside and pull it off. And then at that point, I'll just be cutting off all these floor joists and letting them fall into the basement, do the rim joist, the sill plate, and go from there. See what happens. Wish me luck. Alright, so we're getting sketchy. I'm going to move the camera further away so you guys can get the full panoramic if I won't say it in words. But I got all the subfloor pieces knocked out across the top because those are up behind the siding from the outside, so I can't get those from the outside. So I got those all out, and that last floor joist, we had cut it back a little ways before, so it was just kind of hanging in there. So I cut the ends of that, dropped that, and I cut the ends of the first few. And to not have to work from a ladder underneath afterwards, because now that they're cut free, they're not safe because they're 22 feet long. I think they're about 22 feet long. So, so now I got a couple cut free. I think I'm going to scurry over here and try and cut them across. See that beam down there? Right there. I'm going to try and cut them just to the side of that beam, so they'll just drop in over here, and then I can go in the back room over there and break them off and drop them into the basement on that side. And then at that point, I just got to start levitating them in one at a time from this side. I'll start with this wall and go out, and as I'm going out, I can drop good flooring down on top of them. They'll be braced in there properly. So, oh boy. Watch me struggle. Let's see what happens. All right, I'll cut off, flip down, and I didn't fall into the basement. That's a win. All right, I'll go outside and see about knocking that board off. Oh, there we go. We got a levitating house. And I forgot I needed more of this. This is what you put down between the sill and the concrete to create like a barrier between the concrete and the pressure treated. I think it's mainly just for like possibility of like air passage. So like this will crush and take up some of the voids in the concrete, maybe. But I'm sure there's also some sort of like moisture barrier to it also. But anyway, regardless, I need more of this. And then this other wall here, this one here, this one's already levitating most of the way down. So I'm going to make a way to block it in the corner and jack that corner. And then I can do this sill at the same time, all the way in and along there. And then that'll make it so the sill's new from the chimney, out, this front wall, over to here, out, and around here, and around that corner of the house, almost to the halfway point. So at that point, realistically, I'll be more than halfway through with the sill, because of the way the fronts jogs out and stuff like that. So, yeah, so I'm gonna go get more of this. I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna chip all the excess concrete off the top here where somebody had concreted against the back of it when it was rolled up. And typically nowadays you're supposed to have anchor bolts anchoring the sill plate down. This side here is about 15 feet, I think, and they have one pin, one just pin that went through the thing. There's the hole, and there's that rotted sill. That thing is not healthy, and you can see the corner of this one's bad also. That's why I want to do this whole piece all the way in, and you can see some air up here under the floor and whatnot. So I just got to jack the very far corner of that, and then this will be the first floor joist that runs all the way anyway, and then I'll have to take out the rest of those floor joists as I go. So yeah, off for a supply run. I'll be back. Alright, now we got this whole corner levitating. Broke out this part of the sill and everything. And if you remember before, I talked about how the way the house is built, where the sill plate is overhanging the foundation, and then there's a 2x6 on the end, and it was rolling. It was like collapsing and rolling in, and people put concrete on the back side of it to fill the void, probably before the last owner bought it, as like a don't let somebody see that from in the basement. So they put concrete up there so you couldn't really tell there was a void. Check out how much is in this corner. So a bunch of it, you can see like there's remnants of it there. A lot of it didn't even attach, and I was able to just kind of knock it right off. And then here's one that was so thick that it's just, that's over a ½ inch thick. And basically the way it goes is the sill plate rests over the edge of the foundation, and then the rim joist is all the way out on the outer edge. So you got 3/4 of an inch hanging outside and 3/4 of an inch carrying the whole load. So the whole around most of the house, that wall, this wall, and the driveway side wall, they don't have any floor joists resting here. So this front wall wasn't too bad.
because it had floor joists that were carrying load and pressing it down flat for the most part. But this side here, it was obviously rolled. Look at how much that was rolled for them to get that much concrete under there. It's crazy. So I'm going to work on chipping all this concrete out of here and getting this to a level surface, and then I got to cut this stud off here because I got to drill real anchors, and yeah, we'll get back at it. Oh, and I got the sill stuff over there. I got more than I needed, but I ran out last time, and I don't want to run out again. Alright, so I was walking up to run and get to the hardware store to get some concrete to deal with some stuff on the foundation, and my neighbor stopped over. I haven't seen him in a couple of months, so we ended up shooting the breeze, and now it's pitch black out. So I guess I'm done for the night. Hardware store's closed, and I don't feel like driving all the way across town to get to Home Depot just before they close now. So this is where we landed off. So I just threw this in as a safety for the night. Just, it gave me a little peace of mind that I'll be able to sleep a little easier. But yeah, I want to get some concrete and skim coat this area in here. And this corner is down maybe about 1/8 of an inch than the rest of it. So I want to do a little skim coat of concrete on here and a little bit down there, and whatnot. So this is where it's going to sit for the night. Hopefully no big critters go in there overnight, but check this out. This was I had to use the jacks upside down. Check it out. It actually worked very well. With all my blocking up to the ceiling and stuff like that. So that worked well. I got plenty of room for my sill plate to go in, where I wouldn't have if I had the whole base of that in there, because that base is like 6 inches wide. So that base would be out here somewhere. So got 2 jacks holding it up over here on this side. Got one down there, one over here, and then I got one over here in the corner picking up the end of this wall. Pretty cool having that much of it levitating. It's a lot of house hanging in midair. But anyway, I'm going to get in and make something for dinner and get back at it tomorrow. I was really hoping to have that sill sitting in there tonight, but then realized there was a couple of bad spots on the foundation that I want to just level up with some concrete. So then I wanted to get the concrete done so that was drying overnight so I could get onto it first thing in the morning. But then I bumped into my neighbor, which is a good thing. I like catching up with him. So now tomorrow morning I'll start with the concrete. I'll try and get some fast set and stuff so I can basically put it in and start putting the boards down right away. But I'll get back at it in the morning. Tomorrow will be a very satisfying day, for sure. Today's satisfying in itself, just figuring out how to jack the wall and all that stuff. And it working the way I was hoping it would work, getting it all apart, getting the floor joist cut back safely without falling into the basement and all that. So today was satisfying, and tomorrow, guarantee you, it'll be much more satisfying. Thanks for watching.